something happened today that you need to hear. About 6 hours ago, your soulmate sat down at a table they don't usually sit at, opened a document they have not shown to a single person, and added a new line to something they have been quietly building for the last several weeks. Their hand paused before they typed it. They read what they had just written. They sat back, exhaled once, and stared at the screen for a long, suspended minute, because what they had just put down in writing meant they were no longer just thinking about something. They were planning it, and the plan has you in it, not as a wish, not as a possibility, as a fixture, as the part of the structure they not willing to build the rest of it without. That's where they are right now. That's the moment we stepping into. And I want you to hear the rest of this slowly, because what they putting together isn't going to look the way you expect. It isn't a romantic plan. It isn't a proposal. It isn't a movie scene with a ring. It's quieter than that, and bigger than that, and it's the kind of plan that, when the people around them eventually find out about it, is going to surprise them. Because nobody has seen this side of your soulmate. They've been keeping it under the surface for a long time. You going to be one of the first people they let see it. Let me back up, because I want you to understand how this came together. For a while now, longer than you might guess, your soulmate has been doing some quiet recalculating about their own life. Not in a crisis way. Not in a midlife, shake-up way. Just in the slow, internal way a person recalculates when they realize the path they've been on isn't actually going where they thought it was going. The job, the city, the rhythm of their days, the people around them, the version of their life they had been moving toward by default, none of it has been wrong, exactly. It just hasn't been right either. It's been adequate. And adequate, for someone with the kind of depth your soulmate has, is a slow form of suffocation. So they've been quietly drawing up something different. Not telling anyone. Not because they hiding anything sinister. Because it isn't ready yet, and they know how much the people around them would have opinions about it before it's solid enough to defend. They've been keeping it private the way smart people keep big ideas private. Until the ideas have enough structure to survive contact with other people's reactions. That's where the document comes in. It's not a fancy document. It's a notes app, or a Google Doc, or a notebook, depending on the kind of person they are. It started months ago as a few scattered bullet points. Things they wanted. Things they didn't want anymore. Small course corrections they had been afraid to name out loud. Over time, those bullet points turned into sentences. Sentences turned into sections. Sections turned into something that, if you saw it, would look almost like a blueprint. Of a life. Of a near future. Of the shape they actually want their next several years to take. And somewhere in the middle of that document, in a section they didn't have a label for at first, your name started showing up. At first it was indirect. I want to be with someone who. Then it got more specific. The qualities. The kind of presence, the kind of energy, the kind of conversations they wanted to be having on ordinary Tuesday nights. Then, 6 hours ago, they stopped describing the qualities and just wrote your name. That's the line they added today. That's the line that's been sitting on the screen, making them stare. It's a strange thing to type someone's name into a document about your own future. It feels, for a second, like you recommitting to something even if no one else will ever read it. Like the name has weight. Like the act of typing it is itself a small ceremony. They felt that. They felt the weight of it before their finger left the last key. They felt it for several seconds afterward, while they sat there looking at the cursor blinking next to your name, waiting for them to write something after it. But they didn't write anything after it. They left it standing alone. A single line. A single name. In a document otherwise full of careful sentences and detailed considerations. Just your name, by itself, on a line of its own, the way a heading sits at the top of a section. Because that's what you are in the plan. You not a detail. You the heading. If this message is finding you at the right moment, comment, I receive this love, like the video, and subscribe. There's more coming for you. I want to give you a sense of what's in this plan, because the contents are what make it so different from what people around them would expect. The first thing in the plan is something practical. A specific change they want to make to their living situation. Maybe a move, maybe a renovation, maybe just a decision to leave a space that's been wearing them down. Whatever the form, it's a physical reorganizing of where they spend their days. And the reason it matters is because they've been delaying it for a long time, telling themselves it wasn't worth the trouble, that things were fine, that they could keep doing what they were doing. But somewhere in the last few months, they realized they had been delaying it because the version of them that was making decisions for the future was a version that had stopped expecting much. That version is being retired. The plan is being made by a different version. A version that has remembered how to want things. The second thing in the plan is about their work, or their finances, or some specific area of their material life that they have been letting drift. There's a move they've been thinking about, a deliberate one, not a panicked one. A redirection that would let them build something that actually matches who they are, instead of who they had defaulted into being. They haven't told anyone about this either. Their family doesn't know. Their friends don't know. The people who would have opinions would have strong ones, and they're not ready for the noise. But the plan is on the document. The plan is being built. The plan is real. And then there's the third thing in the plan. The third thing in the plan is you. Not as decoration. Not as an accessory to their main life. As the part of the structure that holds it up. They've come to understand, slowly, over these months of quiet recalculating, that all the other changes they're making are easier to make if they're making them with someone, and they don't want to make them with just anyone. They want to make them with you, specifically. You the one they've been mentally building toward. That's the part that's going to shock the people around them when this all comes out. Because the people around them have a story about your soulmate. They have an idea of who they are, what they want, how their life is supposed to go. They have predictions. They have assumptions. They have a smooth, comfortable narrative about who your soulmate would end up with, and you are not the person who fits cleanly into that narrative. That's the whole point. You don't fit cleanly into the narrative. Because the narrative was always too small. The narrative was built around the version of your soulmate everyone got used to. The version that played it safe. The version that chose convenience. The version that didn't reach for anything too far outside the predictable life. That version is the one that's quietly being dismantled. The new version reaches for you. I want to do this with someone who actually gets me. That was the first thought they let themselves have, fully, today. And it landed differently than it had the other times they had thought it. Because this time, they weren't saying it as an abstract preference. They were saying it as a specific orientation. They knew who they meant. They knew whose face was sitting behind the sentence. Yours. The face they kept coming back to. The voice they kept hearing when they imagined the conversations they wanted to be having 10 years from now. The presence they kept picturing across the table, across the room, across the years. I want to do this with someone who actually gets me. That sentence, 6 hours ago, is what made them finally type your name into the document. Have you been feeling something for the last few weeks? A sense that someone was making decisions about their life that, somewhere inside, included you? A small charge in the air around your future, like the room you were standing in had been rearranged by someone you couldn't see? A strange certainty, on certain mornings, that something good was being built in the background and you didn't have to do anything to deserve it? If this resonates, let it settle in you. You don't have to do anything with it yet. But know this, when someone is building a life that includes you in it, you feel it before you retold. The body picks up the signal. The body knows when it is being woven into someone's future. The body responds with calm, not anxiety, because it recognizes, at a level beneath words, that something steady is coming. That's the calm you've been feeling. That's the body knowing. Now let me tell you about the second thing that happened today, because this is where the plan stopped being a private document and became something they're going to start moving on. About 2 hours after they added your name to the document, they did something they had been putting off for weeks. They made a phone call. Not to you, to someone else. Someone who would have to be involved in the practical changes they're about to make. A landlord, a financial advisor, a relative, a connection at work, someone whose role is to help execute the kind of change your soulmate is finally ready to commit to. They had been delaying the call for one reason: making the call would turn the plan into something other people knew about. And once other people knew, the plan would start happening whether your soulmate was ready or not. The phone call was the threshold between private and real. They had been standing at that threshold for weeks. Today, they crossed it. I want you to picture this. Phone in hand. Heart rate slightly elevated, the way it gets when you about to do something you've been avoiding. The screen lights up with the number. Their thumb hovers for a second. And then they press call. The conversation itself was short, practical, logistical. The person on the other end probably didn't even register that anything significant had happened. From their side, it was just a normal call about a normal thing. But on your soulmate's side, that call was the first domino. Once that domino fell, the rest of them were in motion. If I am going to do this, I have to actually start. That was the second thought. And it had a different texture than the first. The first thought had been about wanting. This one was about doing. About finally moving from the contemplation of a future to the construction of one. They sat with the phone in their hand for a minute after hanging up. They didn't feel triumphant. They didn't feel scared. They felt steady. The way people feel when they finally made a small move that all the bigger moves are going to depend on. The first move is the hardest. After the first move, the rest start to feel inevitable. And the rest of the plan, including the part about you, was now in motion. Now here's what I want you to understand about the structure of all of this. Your soulmate is not going to tell you about the plan all at once. That's important to know, because it means you might not realize, in real time, that you being woven into something larger. The way they going to bring it to you is gradual. They going to start including you in pieces of it before they show you the whole. They going to ask your opinion about a specific decision before you understand why your opinion mattered. They going to consult you about something that, on the surface, sounds small, and only later will you realize it was part of a bigger architecture they had already drawn up. That's how careful builders share what they rebuilding. In pieces, layer by layer, as trust earns the right to see more. So if, in the coming weeks, you notice that they suddenly asking you about things that seem out of nowhere, a place, a timeline, a what do you think about this, pay attention. Those questions aren't out of nowhere. Those questions are pieces of the document being that you. That's the entire qualification. You don't need to force this. Just feel it. What's coming toward you over the next several weeks is going to feel different from anything you received before. It's not going to be a single dramatic gesture. It's going to be a series of small, intentional moves that, taken together, form a structure. A question here. An invitation there. A practical conversation that quietly carries more weight than it pretends to. You'll notice the pattern, eventually. You'll notice that what's been happening is not casual. That what's been happening is composed. That the person you've been thinking of as someone you getting closer to has actually been quietly, carefully, deliberately building a future with you in it for longer than you knew. When you notice the pattern, you don't have to react big. You just have to receive it. You just have to let yourself believe that someone was thoughtful enough about you to build something specifically shaped to fit you. That's a rare thing to be the recipient of. Most people never get courted at that level. Most people get courted at the surface level, the obvious gestures, the predictable script. You being courted at the architectural level, the level that lasts. Have you noticed certain themes coming up in your own life lately? A pull toward a particular direction you can't quite explain? A growing clarity about what you want and don't want? A sense that your own internal compass is recalibrating without your having to consciously work on it? That's not random. That's your inner life adjusting to match what's coming. The universe doesn't usually drop someone into your life with a fully formed plan unless your own life has been quietly preparing to be able to receive that plan. You've been preparing. You didn't know that's what you were doing, but you were. The version of you that's about to be invited into someone else's carefully drafted future is a version that's been getting quietly stronger, clearer, more sure of itself, for months now. That version is ready. That version is not going to panic when the invitation arrives. That version is going to receive it with the steadiness it deserves. Stay soft. Stay open. Stay grounded. The plan is being built, the dominoes are being lined up, and the future that has your name in it is no longer hypothetical. It's drafted. It's documented. It's begun. You don't have to do anything to make it move forward. You just have to keep being who you are, in the life you in, with the kind of presence you already been bringing to everything around you. That presence is what made them write you in. That presence is what's going to make them want to share more and more of the document with you, as the weeks unfold. That presence is the thing that's going to surprise everyone in your soulmate's life when the plan finally surfaces, because the people around them are going to wonder where this version of your soulmate came from. They didn't see it coming. They didn't know your soulmate had this much intention in them. They didn't know there was a blueprint. They didn't know about you. When they find out, they going to understand all at once that something has been building under the surface for a long time, and that the person their version of your soulmate didn't fit with anymore was the version they had gotten comfortable with, and the new version, the one with the plan, the one with your name on the page, the one with the first domino already fallen, that version is who your soulmate actually is. You the person who got to be in the plan first. You re the person who got built around. If you v felt this shift too, you already understand. You v been feeling someone build toward you. You v been feeling a structure form in the distance. You v been feeling a calm certainty that doesn't come from your own effort. That certainty is correct. What's being built is real. You'll see the shape of it soon. And what they beginning to realize now is something they can't walk away from anymore. Not this time.